the goiter, right? Did we stop at the goiter? Does that sound right?
Yes,
Did we
correct.
go further across that, right? Okay. A goiter is that decreased amount of iodine, so your body cannot produce T3 and T4, so it keeps chucking in that TSH hormone, right? But nothing turns it off because it never, you don't warm up, your metabolism doesn't increase as it's supposed to, so still pumping it in. All right. So then, as we go further here, I worked in growth hormone. Ready? Growth hormone. Yes. Yes. All right, so again, right? Hormones really, negative feedback, stopping a hormone is really so crucial, that calming it down, giving it a break, okay? Giantism is an example of too much, of not stopping, right? You put growth hormone and right, you make that bone, those bones grow and grow and grow and grow. Not healthy because while the bones might be growing, are the organs getting any bigger? Maybe not, and so that's why life in the heart, right? They typically have less. This is a good movie. You guys seen it?
I love that.
It's good.
I haven't seen it in like
The rat
25
part always
years.
traumatized me when I was younger, but that's
It's
okay.
the rouse specifically.
Yeah.
It's not a rat, it's a rouse, rodent of unusual size.
Yes.
Oh, my apologies. My apologies. The unusual size rat.
Yes.
Yes. But anyways, as you can see, like it really does happen, and the heart can't keep up with the larger body. So, and then this is one of the reasons for it. For if you don't have enough growth hormone, right? This is not all of the reasons. It could be damaged or okay? But it really has to do, like these kind of things really have to do with that lovely hormone. Is there something off balance about this hormone? And so, yay, prolactin. Okay, here we go. Okay, so now pineal gland, okay? Here we have our lovely brain, right? Here we have our pituitary gland, right? We have our posterior and anterior pituitary gland. And then here we have the pineal gland, right here. Here's our hypothalamus, right? We have the neurosecretory cells up here, and then they connect into the anterior, right? Thinking about the story yesterday. So the pineal gland secretes melatonin. And melatonin calms your body, right? It increases the digestive system, right? It tells it to start digesting, right? It calms your body. It puts you through a cycle of being tired. It does. Never mind. We won't go into too depth, right? But it's extremely important for the circadian rhythm of your body. Melatonin. A little side note, I've actually been really researching into melatonin lately. Anybody take melatonin?
I usually have.
Yeah, right? It's just that caution, and I take it, right? Just that caution as if we take too much, right? Then why would the pineal gland see a need to produce it, right? If we're taking it through medicine form. So just kind of trying to be careful to not make our pineal gland see a need to no longer produce it, right? And release it. And then we have our thyroid, which we just talked about, the thyroid stimulating hormone, right? It's created from our hypothalamus. This helps in metabolism. In other words, getting warm and cold, right? It helps in growing. It helps with growth of other tissues. So it secretes a very important hormone called calcitonin, okay? Calcitonin, as it says here, responds to elevated calcium levels and aids in bone reabsorbing. So here we go, back to week 3. Back to that skeletal week. Back to those cells that we talked about, right? We have our ones that are hanging out, osteocytes, right? They're hanging out, they're in the bone marrow, right? They're hanging out there, and they are sensing and communicating with each other through canaliculi, right? And they're sensing any kind of push or any kind of need for something. And then calcitonin responds to elevated calcium levels. So if there is too much calcium in the blood, elevated calcium levels in our blood, okay, then the osteocytes, right, and everything, the hormone is going to cue. Which one's the builder? Osteoblasts. It's going to cue the osteoblasts, all right? Osteoblasts will become more active because they are going to store the calcium, right? They're going to store that. So the release of calcitonin is going to increase bone reabsorbing, okay? Storing it, okay? Activate, oh, it says blast right there. Activating those osteoblasts. And then, okay, other side, so we have the thyroid on this side. On the other side, we have the parathyroid gland. See these cute little circles, kind of like a butterfly, right? Thyroid on the anterior, para on the posterior side, okay, of the thyroid. And then we have, so calcium, so then in response to, then say we need blood calcium, okay? Because, you know, your heart cannot contract without calcium. Your muscles that we talked about, calcium is essential. Say we're low on calcium. Then the parathyroid hormone, okay, the PTH is going to activate osteoclasts. What do osteoclasts do? They break down, yes, they break down. So here's the parathyroid hormone, the PTH. And they will go and they will get those osteoclasts to start getting more and more active and to break down. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. So helping to dissolve the bone, okay? Slowing down those osteoblasts, okay? Slowing down the blasts, increasing the action of the class. So again, parathyroid hormone, we got this. Parathyroid gland, okay? These 4 little glands on the back of the thyroid. Parathyroid. Then we have the thymus. There's not really anything that you need to remember about this except for it's a gland. Okay, the thymus is a gland. Let's be honest, I'm not going to quiz you on the thymus, okay? As a child, it's large. It's large because it helps with growing. Hormones are essential with growing. But then once you're an adult, your thymus, it actually kind of shrinks in size and it's hanging out. You can tell people you have a thymus and they'll be impressed, but other than that, not really much, okay? Okay, then we have the pancreas. Okay, and the pancreas, here we go, understanding how this pancreas works. Insulin and glucagon. I'm going to draw. I'm so good at drawing. This is your blood vessel, zoomed in. We've zoomed into it. We have taken a frontal view of your blood vessel. And here are some cells on the outside of the blood, right? Because they're not, here's a tissue, we'll say. Here's a tissue that's wanting to take in, we'll make a double layer. There we go. Here we go. Here's a tissue that's wanting to take in something from the blood, okay? Where the blood passes by. So insulin promotes the uptake of it by the liver and it lowers. So here we have, so insulin and glucagon regulate blood glucose. Okay? Blood glucose, aka blood sugar. If this is too personal, you don't have to answer, but anyone in this class have diabetes type 1?
I did.
What?
Diabetes type 1 is the
One you're born with? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
No.
Yeah. Yeah. So insulin, here we go, blood sugar. So I just ate an entire birthday cake, right? I just chugged. I was like that movie Matilda, Bruce Bonfire. I was just scarfing birthday cake, okay? And so all of a sudden, there's a lot of sugars, a lot of glucose in my blood. A ton and a ton and a ton. Now, a ton and a ton and a ton in your blood is going to create more pressure on the heart and blah, blah, blah. We'll talk about with the heart. Not great for your heart, okay? So what happens is the sensory senses the fact that there is a lot of blood glucose in your heart, okay? Sends it to that hypothalamus, blah, 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 comes down, sends it to the body, sends it to the pancreas. The pancreas, here is our lovely pancreas, receives notification that we have too much blood. No, it doesn't. That we have too much glucose in our blood. So it is going to release the hormone insulin. It's going to release insulin, okay? And it's going to enter in the blood, and of course insulin is going to go everywhere, okay? But on our cells, there are insulin receptors, okay? And it's going to be coming here in the blood. We have insulin receptors. Once insulin receptors, once they bind here, they open up, and they will let in glucose. So all of a sudden, glucose can come into the cells. Okay, it can come in. And this is going to make the storage form of the glucose increase in our cells, but in our blood, we are going to have way less sugar in our blood, way less blood glucose here, all right? So insulin promotes the uptake. Insulin equals the uptake of glucose, and glucose is what is called blood sugar, okay? Then, rewind, let's pretend I haven't eaten today, okay? Let's pretend I haven't eaten today, and if you don't eat, your body is going to, use energy inside. It needs energy. Eventually, if you run out of energy, well, you die. So let's not do that. But, so here we have glucagon. Sorry, I've been lecturing all day. Here we go. So here we have glucagon right here. And glucagon, that's an awful word. What does this say? Breakdown, yeah, not destroy, does the breakdown of glycogen, okay? So here we are, I'm starving, I'm so hungry, oh, and my blood, look, I have no sugars, like I maybe only have like 1 or 2 sugars, like no energy, and all these cells are like, we're starving, we've got no energy, right? So what's gonna happen is it's gonna release glucagon, and glucagon, okay, is going to, we'll put glucagon like a circle. Glucagon is going to enter into the blood, okay? And what glucagon is going to do is it's going to travel to, oh, that's a really great picture. Anybody want to guess which organ that is?
The pear.
Yes! I know, it was my amazing drawing, huh? Glucagon, there are receptors on the liver, okay, that when glucagon comes, okay, when glucagon hits it, then the liver is going to break down glycogen. Glycogen is the storage form of glucose. Okay, storage form of glucose. The liver is going to break down glucose and send it into the blood, so then we have enough glucose again. So everyone, right now, touch this part of you and say, thank you, pancreas, for making insulin and glucagon, right? Right? Your body's awesome, right? We love our pancreas. Hearts all over the place, right? Yay! It keeps us, right? It keeps us with energy. Insulin and glucagon. I can 100% promise you, this is on Friday. I can 100% promise you it's on your midterm. It's on your final. Insulin and glucagon, very important. Very, very important. They're all important, but those 2 hormones are very important, okay? For blood glucose levels. By show of thumbs, did you get it? Did you get what blood glucose does? Kind of, sort of? Cool. Okay, here we go. Moving on. So the pancreas. What does the pancreas secrete? Good. Insulin and glucagon. All right. Okay. Now, look at that. There's a drawing right there. Yeah. All right. So, I guess if you have diabetes, you just don't produce insulin. Okay, insulin type 1, you don't produce this extremely important hormone. So you can never get the sugar out of your blood by yourself. So what do? You inject insulin right into your blood. Right into your blood, and then it goes and it pulls the sugars from your blood. Okay? That's what it does, okay? Diabetes type 2 is different, but we're talking diabetes type 1. All right, here we go. Now, adrenaline, the adrenal glands, okay? The adrenal glands secrete epinephrine and norepinephrine. Epinephrine, adrenaline, okay? Fight or flight, okay? You have to take a test. And you're you're studying, Friday. You're entering in Friday. And you definitely studied phenomenally for this practical exam. So as you enter in, what's going to be happening to your body? You're going to be experiencing a little bit of stress. So if you pay attention, your heart rate is going to be going a little bit faster, because your heart rate is what gets blood everywhere. And you want blood everywhere, okay? Because blood's going to deliver oxygen. You want oxygen to your brain, to your eyes. You want to be able to think. Blood will deliver sugars everywhere for energy. You want this. If you pay attention, you're breathing, you're gonna be taking kind of bigger, kind of deep breath, depending how stressed you are, okay? It's gonna be pulling in oxygen. Your eyes, actually, in stress situations, you can see better. In stress, you can hear better. Okay, so let's be noticing this awesome improvement of your body, right? But again, epinephrine. Epinephrine is responsible for this. And then we have aldosterone, stimulates the stimulates retaining sodium in your blood instead of it being lost in the urine. But again, we will study that beauty when we talk about this gorgeous organ right here, your kidney. Okay? And then of course we have your gonads, we have your testes, which are secrete testosterone, and ovaries, which secrete estrogen, progesterone, and they also inhibit. So here we go, right here, those last two. Now I want to talk about disorders. Disorders about what can happen, right? So we talked about diabetes type 2. I want to show you, let's do Mr. Sleepy, because I'm going to ask you about that one. Okay. It's just going to pop up and work. So remember, as we were talking about, our nervous system and our hormone system, they work together, right? The nervous system tells quickly, hey, can you exit out? Thank you. And then our hormone system, right, they communicate with each other, they talk to each other, but of course the hormones go, okay, no. What? Oh, here we are. Okay. Our nervous system works together, right? But if our nervous system is off, okay, or if it's off on the melatonin, right? If it randomly sends it off on the wrong times, putting something to sleep, or if your nerves are off, right? Here we have the incorrect. Oh my gosh. Oh, okay, we got this. This feels like a Monday, but it's a Wednesday. Incorrect release of a hormone, okay, at the wrong time with the neural system. I'll show you this. And on your exam, it's going to say something like, what was Mr. Sleepy suffering from or something? So I'll show you.